Right now we're going to bring in our guest. It's an NBA legend, 9-time NBA All-Star, 9-time All-First-Team Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time gold medal winner. All those accolades. He's an NBA legend, Seattle Sonics leading scorer, leading assist man, leading steals. It's Gary Payton. Gary, thanks for coming on. Very happy to have you here.
Well, thank you. Well, I had to come in here with Jonathan Butler. Y'all, everybody know that. Thank you very much. Love you today. I'm coming to check these. You all right? Hey, how you doing, Jess?
Doing great. How you doing? Thanks for coming on the show, Gary.
Man, it's no problem, man. Anything to do for you guys, man, I'm right here, you know. Tell me about it. Tell me about the show.
It's a sports show. It's just like your show. You know, we do it off the computer here, real grassroots kind of thing, but you know, we talk all sports. We're mainly basketball, so we got all the knowledge about basketball. We're big basketball.
So y'all gonna be like Bill Gates and them now. They started up in a little garage and then start making billions of dollars, right? So
well, now we got you on the show.
Yeah, y'all give me part of that. Y'all give me part of that. So it's okay.
So Gary, yeah, basically just having you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about your career. You started at Oregon State. What made you want to go there at Oregon State?
Well, just what happened there is that I was going to go to St. John's University. I was getting recruited by Louis Conaseca. I had committed to St. John's already. I was making the point I wanted to go to Big East and get on TV. They had just came out of the Final Four. They had Chris Mullins, Walter Berry, Sheldon Jones, all them guys, Mark Jackson, and when we were about to make the announcement at our school. We had a big conference coming up, you know, the press conference and stuff coming up, and Greg Foster played with me. If any one of you guys know who he was, he went here to UCLA and all that stuff. He was going to announce he's going to UCLA. I was going to announce I was going to St. John's, and next thing you know, Conaseca called me and said he was going to back out. He wanted to go with a local guy. It really hurt my feelings. And I was really crushed, you know, and then you know, we had a big thing going. We had to go in there and tell the people I wasn't going to do it and stuff like that. And so I went home and I told my mom, and tears broke down my eyes, and she said, you know, this is probably what was in your faith. God has got something else planned for you. Just so happened the next day, six scholarships. Everybody found out that I wasn't signing. The schools that wanted me, and I had told them to leave me alone, came back, and they waited for a little bit, and they brought the scholarships back in, and I just said, you know, I did it the wrong way. I think I did it the wrong way. I did it too fast. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't look at the things where I was, and I think that I did it because of fame and because I wanted to be on TV, and I think that I needed some help and I needed some guidance, and I let my mom pick my school, and she picked Oregon State.
So not being able to go to St. John's like you wanted to, that had to be something that motivated you then, since you said you were crushed by that. That had to be a motivating factor for you going forward, right?
It was a blessing. As everybody see, I became an All-American at Oregon State, the second pick out of Oregon State. I played for, I think, the greatest coach ever to play coaching basketball and college basketball, in Ralph Miller. I think that was just a blessing to me. It slowed me down. Coming from a city of Oakland, California, and then going to a little city like Corvallis, Oregon, slowed me down and taught me how to become a man. You know what I'm saying, and do that type of stuff, and it just taught me a lot of stuff, you know, that I install in my kids now, and I'm glad I went to a school where I had nothing to do. Basically nothing to do. You fool around with cows and goats and all that other stuff.
I've been to Corvallis.
It's nothing to do. Portland and Eugene. Eugene is probably about 30 minutes away, and Portland is about an hour and a half away, and the cities are not there, and you just have to sit there and grow up. And I think that was a big change in my life, and I'm really glad that my mom picked that school.
Right.
Transitioning into the early days of your NBA career, you were drafted by the Sonics in 1990. How was it coming into an era, you know, you had Jordan, the end of Magic, Bird, all that good stuff. How was that, you know, coming in as they were, or, you know, Jordan was coming up, but some legends going out and you being a young player in the league?
It was a little off for me at first with the Bird and you know, all them type of guys. Magic, you know, he announced him 2 years later after he had the HIV. Bird then retiring the year later than that, and you know, Jordan was just coming up at the time. So, you know, I got to play with the guys I think I should have played with. a lot of veterans, you know, a lot of the McHales, the Parishes, the Charles Barkleys, the Kevin Johnsons, the Tim Hardaways, the Mitch Richmonds. I got to grow up with that era that really taught me a lot. You know, taught me a lot. And my first 2 or 3 years, 2 years were as great. It wasn't a great year. It wasn't great. I played for a coach that I didn't think that was my style of basketball, in Casey Jones. And next thing you know, I got George Karl, and then my game started to develop. And I like that. But I think nowadays in this era, it's too many young kids on the team. You don't have anybody to teach them. You don't have a veteran to say, hey, go and get these bags. Go and be this type of guy. You give these 19, 20-year-old guys this type of money, they don't know how to do what they do with it, you know. And when I was there, I had Xavier McDaniel as my mentor and my veteran, Nate McMillan. You know, these type of guys, you know. So I had to go and get breakfast early in the morning at 6, you know, and get all the team something to eat to go on the plane and stuff like that. And it's just a little different. You know? It's just like with your kids. You know, your kids never grew up the way you grew up. And then all of a sudden you give them everything because you have made it. And then it's hard to teach them a value. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the value no more. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden when they get 20 years old and 22, man, what to do? I need to get a job. My family, my mother and father is not doing anything for me no more. What should I do? And they're spoiled. You know, so it's a big difference, and I wish they could have grew up the way we did, but that's just the way the era goes. And that's just the way it happens.
Yeah, you mentioned the difference in eras, and obviously in today's era there's, you know, not as much trash talking and that type of thing, and you're known as one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. So describe the difference between that now, and who was the best trash talker against you that you went up against when you were playing back in your day?
Well, I'm gonna start off with how it is now. I think it's really limiting the game. What if somebody comes out and that's the way they play? You know what I'm saying? Now they got to be quiet. The Dennis Rodmans would have been hurt here. I would have been hurt. The Rasheed Wallaces would have been hurt. We all would have probably never survived in the game. Out of 82 games, we probably would have only played about 20 because we probably would have been kicked out, and the NBA would have been really, really, you know, a bad thing for us. So, you know, we would have tried to hold our tongue, and I think our athletic ability wouldn't have been let out like it was. You know, so, you know, me today, I couldn't. I probably wouldn't be able to function. You know, I probably wouldn't be able to function. You know, it's a lot different. I don't think my game would have been the same. You know, I can't talk. I can't do what I want to do. I can't express my emotions. You know, and I think that's just a little bit different. I think the game has really changed a lot. It's got a little bit different and soft. I'm not saying nothing against the NBA, but that's just the way the era is. You know, you got zones. Every time you get touched, guys are shooting 15, 20, 30 free throws, which is
the no hand check rule.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can't guard nobody one-on-one. You can't prove anything no more. You know, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can't talk. It's just a high-scoring league now, and I don't see any defense. You know, I think that's why a lot of teams win championships now, because they can play defense. You know, the team that buckles down and play defense will always win a championship. And as you see, referees always go to who is the physical one and how teams play. Then they adjust to how they play. If you start playing physical, they let you play physical. And people got to understand that, and that's why people win championships.
You talk about the difference in eras and just the whole thing with no trash talking. It also seems like the players are much more friendly than they were. I remember watching the players in, you know, the mid-90s, the Knicks brawls, and it looked like it was real hatred on the floor. Now it just seems like, you know, they're just kind of playing the game and everyone's hugging each other before, during, and after. What do you?
That is so crazy to me because I never did that. I never talked to anybody before a game. Well, we sit there and hee. I didn't ever take them out before the game. I never went in the summers and played with them. I never did any of that. When we went and played in an Olympic team, it was great. We played against Karl Malone, John Stockton, Pippen, Barkley, David Robinson, Keem Olajuwon. We played against these guys, but we was only together for them 2 months. What we talked about on the bus is what we gonna do to each other when we get back. That's all we talked about. We didn't never talk about, let me exchange your number. That's me and the wife and the kids and all that. All of us go on a vacation and we talk to each other on Twitter. We didn't have it on Twitter. We didn't have all that. We didn't have Facebook during that time neither. We didn't have that type of stuff. We didn't talk about that. We never talked about anything like that. And it's just crazy right now that you talk about that. You know, you go and have dinner with each other, and we talk about we're going to be on each other's team in 2 years. No, I'm not having that. I'm going to play against you. I'm going to win a championship on my own, and I'm going to say that was Gary Payton's team. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big difference. And like I said, with an era, it changes, and that's just the way life goes.